few more notes unrelated to earlier, but probably will end up being related. So, over the past several weeks, reading the I'm from Orlando, reading the Daily Sentinel, several things have kind of stuck out that are really concerning to me for Mesa County. One, we have a $1.8 million lawsuit that has been filed against the Department of Human Services related to another incident of many that have been happening, and one that I spoke about as well with them running down to Paonia. But regardless of that, now we're on the hook for $1.8 million. I know we have some stopgap insurance, but the commissioners could have had the opportunity to address that situation. The leader of that organization, you had the opportunity to address that. So that's one concern. Second one was a SWAT incident where they're breaking down doors in this community with very sloppy, I mean without a doubt sloppy police work. But we got a sheriff that got up and apologized, and you know what, now we've got 7 new victims. What's that going to cost the taxpayers? But it's of no surprise, because the sheriff had pointed out in the past of a Fourth Amendment violation that he was found guilty of, and a settlement on that one that was never disclosed here in Mesa County. Said he would do it all over again. Well, here we are. He did it all over again. What's it going to cost us this time? Third one was Oxy Petroleum tax lawsuit. Everything's privileged information, so we can't gain access to find out what that one's all about. Potentially another $1 million reimbursement. But what's disappointing in that is poor Oxy, because they made a mistake, and this is, of course, what public information hears, what we hear through the media, so we don't know if it's accurate or not. There's no way to prove it, but I did listen to that hearing, or at least watch the video of that hearing here in town, and you could tell it was going to go to the next levels on that one. But so now we're, that one I think is concerning as a Mesa County citizen and enjoying the western slope. It's concerning because we're telling people if they want to come in here, don't make mistakes. We're telling businesses to come in here, don't make mistakes, because we're in a tight situation and we really can't afford to give your money back. But what are we spending? I mean, I don't even know if our own in-house legal counsel is defending that. We probably have outside counsel that we're paying for. So it's just concerning. We're trying to leverage businesses to come into this county. That sends a really, really negative message, in my opinion. And now we hear this week, especially because it's budget time, fun for you guys, huh? Everybody wants more money. I do too, right? So I get that argument, I get the case, but I go back and say, what's got us to this point? And the federal grant you just accepted is a start of it, because what you've done is you've allowed the guys in Washington, D.C. to tell you exactly how you're going to do your job here in Mesa County. So with that, I looked at some statistical analysis. I will do more with the budgets, but what's interesting is they're saying they're doing more with less, and maybe that's the case, but I see statistically from a crime standpoint that the harder or the tougher felony crimes are actually declining, and the one stat that seemed to be higher was drug violations and just other arrests. So we don't really get to see what those other arrests are for. So, but the point of it is they're making more arrests, and they're saying they don't have enough manpower. So I'm trying to equate how these caseloads are higher and they don't have the manpower to keep up with it, but it seems to me that they're doing just fine with what they have. They are getting I don't know, it seems to be about a 5% bump every year still. but now 32 more deputies. I just don't want to see Mesa County become a police state in here where it's all about generating revenue through law enforcement and enforcement of environmental justice laws, AFFH laws, you name it, across the board. Here they come to enforce. And so I don't even know where this 1.5 deputies per 1,000 people is even coming from. It's probably a federal regulation, no doubt. One of the last things that was disturbing that I read was the 2015 and 17 health assessment for Mesa County, and it is about one of the ugliest pieces of literature I've read in a very long time for this community, where obesity, where lung disease, and suicides and chlamydia across the board are sweeping not only Colorado but probably the nation. And it just gets frustrating to constantly see this community lead in so many negative things. And unfortunately, we're supposed to come and bow before the government and ask for more help, or it just needs more money, and you know, all these things. But we've been roped into this box by the federal government to say this is how you're going to do things. You can't get outside of that box, and that's what we're stuck in. And here's the results. It looks just like flipping Detroit, Michigan. That's where we're headed here in this valley. And I get passionate about it because I have 3 kids that I've raised in this community, and we just flippantly accept federal grants without any consideration for future generations, and that aggravates me, commissioners. So I ask you at the end of the day, who do you serve? Do you serve the evil government, corrupt people in Washington, D.C. and the United Nations, or do you serve Mesa County citizens?
Thank you, Kevin.